Hi guys, it's Alexandra here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you my very first book review, and that would be for The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. This will not have any spoilers in it, and I will be talking to you guys about the things that I think are good to know, a little bit about what the story is kind of about without giving away any major plot points, and then also what I liked, what I wish maybe would have been different, and my ratings and what I recommend. So let's get started. So first of all, I do have some notes. So if you see me looking at something, that's what I'm looking at. The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver was published this year in 2020, and it is a romance. And the first few things that I want to talk about are things I think are good to know heading into this book. And the first of those is that this is very emotional and it is sad often throughout the book. It deals with grief and loss of a loved one, as well as many other common things that happen in people's lives that are very tragic and very sad, and it deals with all of that. And so if that's not what you're looking for, this might not be the romance novel for you right now. One other thing that I think is good to know is that this is an extremely fast-paced read, which in my opinion is a good thing. It hooked me right from the start. Once I picked it up, I didn't want to put it down. And I think if you're somebody who's maybe in a reading slump or you're not feeling motivated to read, this could be a good book to pick up and get you out of that reading slump. Okay, so now into a little bit about the book without giving anything away. So when is this book set? It is set in 2018 through 2020, so very, very recent. And it is set in a small town in England. Our main characters are Lydia Bird, and then we do, even though her significant other, her fiance, Freddie Hunter, has passed, we do get some perspective from him. And then the other main character that we get to see is Jonah. Jonah was both Lydia's friend as well as Freddie's best friend for a very long time. So what is this story about? This story takes place basically right after the sudden and tragic death of Freddie, and it follows mainly Lydia and how she is coping with the grief and figuring out how she is supposed to process her real life and somehow keep moving forward, while she also has kind of a unique thing happen to her. She ends up with this second life where she ends up being able to visit this alternate reality of sorts where she can still see Freddie, and Freddie is still very much alive in this alternate reality. And we see her try and balance the positives and the negatives of this and see how it affects her grieving process, and watch her as she has to make some very life-changing and big decisions when it comes to what is she going to do in this new life of hers. We also follow Jonah, and as I said, Jonah was very good friends with Lydia for a long time and best friends with Freddie, and we see him as he tries to understand and get to know this new life without Freddie, without his wingman, without his rock. And we also have to watch him as he tries to figure out, should he try to patch up the relationship with Lydia? Should he try to continue to have this friendship even though it brings him currently a lot of pain because Lydia reminds him of Freddie? So that's all I'm going to go into for the plot. There's a lot of stuff that happens throughout this, both with Lydia and her family and Jonah and his story. So that's just kind of letting you guys know what is the general overview of the story, what kind of happens, because I know for me, when I'm listening to book reviews, that's helpful, and it really gives me a picture of, do I want to read this or do I not want to read this? Now, some things that I really loved about this story. The relationships throughout the story are very unique, and I enjoyed getting to see them grow and change. But one of the best relationships, in my opinion, during the whole story is that of Lydia and her sister Elle. It is so strong and supportive and loving and yet realistic because they don't get along all the time, and Elle is dealing with her own life and her own issues and things that cause her to struggle. And she's not only trying to deal with all of that, but she's trying to help Lydia, and the same thing goes for Lydia, who's dealing with this huge loss in her life, but still wants to be there for her sister. So I really enjoyed that family relationship there a ton. And I actually just wish there was more of it. There was plenty of it, but I wish there had been even more. Another thing that I really liked was that this book throughout deals with issues, tragedies, difficult things that people all over the world day in and day out deal with. And it didn't shy away from it. And I really thought that that was important. It was a good reminder that we all are going through things and we all deal with them in different ways. And it's not the way I deal with something may not be the way that a character in this book dealt with it, and the way that they dealt with it might not be the way that somebody else would view the situation. And that gave me a good reminder that it's okay to be going through these things. It's okay to have difficult moments in our lives, and that we are all going to respond uniquely to them, but we all can get through them if we surround ourselves with the love and support that we need. Another thing I really loved was, again, the pace. I love the fact that it was fast paced. I very much was in need of a book that kept me intrigued and interested and wanting to hear more. I needed something that gripped my mind. It was a great distraction from everything that's going on with the COVID-19 pandemic crisis right now. It was great to have a fast-paced book to keep my mind off of that. And I really liked that it honestly felt like I was watching a really great romance movie. A few times I said to myself, this would be a great movie. I could see it being a movie someday and being a wildly popular one at that. All right, now a couple things that I wish were a bit different, and just like anything in this review, this is my personal opinion. Take it, leave it, whatever you please. That's totally fine. We don't have to think the same because we're not the same. One thing, even though I loved the fast pacing, that did throw me off a little bit was the ending. I liked the ending. Actually, I really enjoyed the ending, but it was very, very fast. I was getting to the last 10 pages or so of the book and it still wasn't wrapped up. And I was getting a little worried that this wouldn't wrap up at all and that it would be really open-ended. And I didn't really want that from this story. And thankfully, it doesn't end like that. It is a very good ending, but it just felt fast. It felt a little rushed, I guess. And then this thing is really just like me personally. I haven't talked about it a ton on this channel, but I am a Christian. I have a strong relationship with God, and I'm very proud of that. And I think the one thing, it actually just made me a little sad for Lydia's character, is that she doesn't have that in her life, and she makes that known several times throughout the book. And so while she does have a super supportive family, and that is definitely a big part of the battle when you're overcoming difficult things, I just wished for her that she would have been able to find that faith and been able to find that strength and courage in God. But obviously not everybody is religious, not everybody has that kind of relationship with a faith, and that is totally okay. You are more than welcome to do whatever makes you happiest, and for this character, that just wasn't a part of her life. So for me, that's not really a qualm with the book. It's mostly something that I wish for that character. Like if she was a real person, I would have wished that for her, obviously. Again, that's just my opinion. But overall, so score. Since this was a book of the month book on their website, you get to emoji rate the book, and I gave it a heart, which means that I loved it because I really did. And then if I were going to give this a rating out of 5 stars, 5 being the best, 1 being not so great, I would give this probably a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I connected with the characters. I enjoyed the dynamics of the relationships, and the events that happened seem realistic and I thought were important to talk about. And last but not least, would I recommend this book? I would most certainly recommend this book to anybody who's looking for a fast-paced romance that deals with real-life topics and is just looking to be gripped and engaged from start to finish. So that is my non-spoiler review for The Two Lives of Lydia Bird. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you've read this book, let me know what your thoughts were in the comments. And if you have read it and you think that there are other books that I would like based on my thoughts about this one, leave those in the comments below. Again, thank you guys for watching and have a great rest of your day. Bye.